ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Uh, very good evening to honored guests, esteemed members of the community, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be here at the nasscom Future Forge convention. I was going through the schedule and the topics that have been discussed at the nasscom event over here. And to be very honest, Mr. President and Bhaskarji, when I went through the schedule, I think I think you meant to give me a wake up call. And trust me, you have done that. And I think there is an urgent need for both the central government and all the state governments to do a course correction with respect to its approach to the deep tech industry. As you know, deep tech is powered by scientific discoveries and engineering innovations, transforming theoretical ideas into practical application. Basically, we are solving real life problems here. And unlike traditional technology, which focuses on gradual improvements, deep tech ventures harness cutting edge technologies to gain a competitive edge. So the government intends to work extremely closely with industry partners, industry and think tanks to address major roadblocks in development of deep tech sector in India. The startups in deep tech sector in India face a lot of roadblocks. And like I said, I think personally it's a wake up call for the government of Karnataka. I was talking to a couple of startups in Delhi yesterday. They had come for some other event, which I was a part of, and they also happened to be from Bengaluru, coincidentally. And they were telling me that government's focus is on more glamorous things of IT and not deep tech. And among that was one lady from biotech as well. So both were had an axe to grind with me. So the long gestation periods which startups take, I think that needs to be addressed. And if I may suggest that if we are able to come up with plug and play facilities which focuses heavily on the deep tech sector only, I think that will shorten the learning curve for deep tech startups. And of course, regulations is another stumbling block. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be saying a lot of positive things as a minister, but I think I will be doing grave injustice if I do not talk about the problems that you guys are facing and if I'm not going to take corrective measures for the same. So, the other thing that they were speaking about is on the regulations. And deep tech often operates at cutting edge technology where there is little or no regulations, or in some cases where the regulations are rapidly changing as much as the technology. And as a knee jerk reaction, we end up coming up with a policy that hurts the industry rather than ensures its growth. So the governments need to work very closely with industry to ensure we get proper regulatory and policy framework. And the other important thing that I have been grappling with, I don't have any ready made answer for, is intellectual property. I think that's one of the biggest challenge the startups face in the country and in this sector particularly. Securing and defending IPs is crucial for these deep tech startups, but it remains a very, very complex challenge in India. And if I may request nasscom to come up with probably a flow chart on how we can ensure IPs, ease of doing business for IPs so that the IPs stay here. Because I was reading that the World Intellectual Property Organization's report of last year ranked India 40th globally in innovation. That means it is indeed a challenge. I am in the top 8 startup ecosystems in the world. I am the top 5 in the AI cities in the world. But in IPs, I'm 40. So that is something that I think is not acceptable. And I would love to hear from industry leaders and from entrepreneurs on how we could solve that the crux of the puzzle. And one another aspect that needs quick fixing is to facilitate access to capital. And again, I have no ready-made answers because I get a lot of flack for giving away government money as grants to young startups. But what I would suggest is if the government and private sector can start by promoting sector-specific focused on deep tech. So if there are deep tech in life sciences, I'm sure we can look at a way wherein the private sector and the government elevate funds or our kitwin funds converge to make a larger kitty for them. Or let's say sustainable uh, solutions. I'm having a water summit. My intention is to make Karnataka a water secure, first water secure state in the country. And if I'm able to solve this using deep tech in biotechnology, in information technology or any other thing to ensure we get better potability of water, conservation methodologies of water, if we are able to understand the contamination, the biological or the chemical contamination of water much more quickly and take remedial steps, I am sure that the government itself can become your first client. The government itself can help you pilot these things within a sandbox environment for the government itself. So I think this is something that we need to give the startups access to. One is capital and perhaps even pilot projects within the government. I think that is something that uh, is right up my alley, and if you I seek some time to ensure that we'll be able to come up with guidelines for the same. And another thing that is really deep in this sector is the talent shortage. So deep technology, deep tech industry has an extremely deep problem of talent availability. You'll be surprised that only 3% of our engineers have new age technological skills. The employability in new age jobs is pegged at 1.7%. And I am churning out engineers right, left, and center. I am producing more engineers than China and USA put together, and I don't know what to do with them. So that is the reason why we have come up with the Nipuna program. Nipuna means highly skilled. It's a 300 crore program, perhaps the biggest skilling program in the country today, which is focusing on uh, developing talent in emerging technologies, not only for Karnataka, but for the entire world. The tagline goes like skill locally, work globally. So we will have the best trained human resource of the world coming in from Karnataka. So the Nipuna program is very simple. We allow companies to come on board with the government, let them put in their funds, we will put in our funds, we will ensure it is either through their CSR or corporate development fund and the government fund for it. So 300 crores I am investing to ensure that we give you the best human resource available for the industry. And one of the things that I'm pursuing personally is ensuring that our deep tech startups get exposure at the international level. So we have something called the Global Innovation Alliance, where we are sending our startups and giving them market access across 33 countries. You'll be quite surprised that more than this year, in the last 6 months, more than 13 to 15 startups have gone and set up shop in Germany, in Australia, even in America. So we are giving them not only market access, but we are also allowing them to understand the market and how they can scale their technologies there. This is something that we have also tied up with Startup Genome, wherein we are trying to identify the top 50 or top 50 companies in Karnataka so that they have international exposure for their growth. It's just not going and setting up a stall in one of their events or exhibitions. It is actually going and setting up a shop there, trying to get them business there. So this exposure for global collaborations and market expansion is something that is very, very crucial for our startups, and that is something that we are very keen on. And despite having the third largest pool of deep tech startups, we haven't churned out enough innovations for the global market. That is the reason why we are following this up. So you see, we are in the top 5 AI cities. We are in the top 3 cities who are ready for AI adaptability. We are 40th we are in number 8 in startup innovations and inventions ecosystem, but we are 40 in IP. And despite having third largest talent pool in deep tech, we are not churning out enough innovations for the world. That is exactly what we need to do through these things. But the good news is that we can accelerate, we will accelerate, and India is a home to close to around 3,600 startups in deep tech space, ranks 6th in the global deep tech ecosystem. And what is interesting is that 74% of deep tech startups established in 2023 have all concentrated on artificial intelligence. And of course, I don't want to go on the Karnataka ecosystem. You're all quite aware on how agile and how great our ecosystem is. Karnataka boasts of a thriving deep tech ecosystem with over 250 startups registered with the government of Karnataka. These startups have collectively attracted more than $1.5 billion last year in investment and have created close to around 10,000 jobs here in this sector. But we need to do more. I mean, these numbers sound very nice. They are numbers compared to other states. I'm doing a fantastic job, but I'm not competing with other states. I'm competing with other countries. And having said that, if I don't know, I can. Is there the kids MD here? No, he's not there. So, but I have the KDM chairperson here. Mr. Sharma is here, and our Bhaskarji is here. Am I? And I can surely give Mr. Sharma a task, but am I entitled to give nasscom a task as well? Can I? Can I misuse my authority? Okay. So I'll go ahead and misuse my authority, and I request if KDM and nasscom and KITS, the Karnataka Innovation and Technology Society, can collaborate and establish a deep tech innovation cluster in Bengaluru. So a deep tech innovation cluster, I think, is very, very important. I would request you to find the right industry partners. I would request you to find the right institutional partners, right think tanks, so that you can come together with a plan by the Bengaluru Tech Summit, if it is not too early. But at least if you can give me a framework that I can work with, it is my job to ensure that when the Chief Minister announces the budget in March 2023, this will be on top of the thing. So, although the good thing about being minister is you can delegate. So, I'm delegating this task to KDM and requesting nasscom to play anchor, because you have the bandwidth to tell us what is happening across the board in the country and also across the globe. So whatever the core areas of deep tech, whether it is artificial intelligence and machine learning, robotics and automation, quantum computing, biotechnology and synthetic biology, advanced material sciences, nanotechnology, blockchain or distributed ledger technologies, this government, the government of Karnataka, is ready to take the leap of faith with you. And more importantly, by focusing on deep tech sector, India can accelerate the growth of its deep tech ecosystem and position itself as a global leader in technological innovation. And trust me, whatever the acceleration that the nation deserves, it will happen here from government of Karnataka and nowhere else. That much I can assure you. From being a pensioner's paradise, we want to be the most disruptive innovation capital who are breaking boundaries, not just for India, but for the world. Like I said before, we are not competing with other states in the country. My agenda is very clear. I want to build a solid foundation of education. I want to build a solid foundation of skill sets, top it up with incubation, top it up with policies, top it up with innovations and inventions, and top it up with IPs. If this pyramid is something done well, solidly, I don't see why in the next decade we should be better than the Silicon Valleys of the world. And at the cost of sounding repetitive, I don't want to be an investment destination. Karnataka and Bengaluru is not going to be the investment destination. My positioning is extremely clear. I am the knowledge capital of the country, and I want to become the skill capital of the world. And that, my friends, will happen when through events like these, through the learnings like these. Like I said earlier, I started out with my speech by saying that I went through your schedule. That's when I realized that we are not doing enough. That's when I realized that the government needs to do more, and I'm committed to doing more. I'll assure you that the deep tech startups of the state will get all the attention that is required from the government and more to ensure that India is right at the top of the pyramid when it comes to the deep tech sector. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your attention and the invitation to be here with all of you. And I wish you all the very best for the rest of the evening. Thank you so much.